Hello, Snakes. My name is Dante, and today it's Podcast Tuesday once again, and we got some Final Fantasy spoilers. Cards from the Final Fantasy games all across, 1 to 15, and there's like lots of cards. You can even see below the cards, it says the name of the Final Fantasy game, which is really interesting. And you know what's the best part of this set? It's friggin' standard legal. Yup, standard legal. Another set in standard, and it's a Final Fantasy set. So, yeah, really cool. Let's go into our number 10. Number 10, we got a brand new mechanic. So this is Astrologian's Planet Sphere. We got a brand new mechanic called Job Select, a 2-mana equipment. When it enters, create a 1/1 hero and attach it to twist. So it's basically like Living Weapon and for Maraudon, but instead of being a 0/0 or 2/2, it's a 1/1. The equipped creature becomes a wizard in addition to its other types and has whenever you cast a non-creature spell and whenever you draw your third card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And it has Diana to equip 2. No idea what this Diana equip 2 means, but we're gonna find out sooner or later. But this card is very powerful and basically gives a creature like prowess with counters, and also for card draws. Also, if you draw the third card, it gets another counter. So similar to that Sprite Dragon from Ikoria. So this is a Sprite Dragon that doesn't fly, but you can move it from one creature to another, and also counts the third card you draw each turn. So yeah, and considering this is standard legal, you're gonna see this in Esper decks, in Esper Pixies, and Demir Bounce as well, because you can bounce it and it keeps on creating a hero. Might replace Storm Chaser's talent, or at least split between Storm Chaser's talent, because this is much better than Storm Chaser's talent. So yeah, now let's go into our number 9. Number 9, we got Matoya, Archon Elder, a 3-mana 1/4 legendary human warlock. So similar to how cards in Pharaohs and Lord of the Rings had cards that that trigger when you scry, and in Guilds of Ravnica we had cards that trigger when you surveil. Well, this card has a trigger when you either scry or surveil, and the best ability is here. Whenever you scry or surveil, draw a card. So turning every scry into an opt and every surveil into a consider. This card is bonkers because not only does it let you draw a card when you scry or surveil, it lets you draw the card after you scry or surveil. So you still get to choose whether or not you want this card or not, making it one of the most broken cards in this set. Power creeping a lot of cards, and this will make decks, break decks as well. All the blue decks will be more blue, more powerful, and yeah, this card is just game breaking, turning simple considers and opts from 1 mana scry 1 draw a card to 1 mana scry 1 draw 2 cards. Almost a ancestral recall. Yes, that card is that crazy. At our number 8, we have a brand new land type, the Town land. So this is Ishgard the Holy Sea, a town, which enters tapped and taps for white. However, it has an adventure. Faith and Grief. For 5 mana, you can return up to 2 artifacts and or enchantments from your graveyard to your hand. Very powerful, as it's a land. You can play this as a land and it enters out. But then if you get late in the game, you can use this as graveyard recursion. And even afterwards, later on, play this card as a land. So there is a whole land cycle in the set of towns, and you basically can play an adventure and then later on play the land, or just play the land normally. But what I don't know is if there's any cards that use towns. I've not seen any card. Maybe they will release them next Tuesday, but I don't know. This is Ishgard, the Holy Sea. Let's go. At our number 7, we have Esper Origins, which flips into Summon Esper Maduin. It's a green card. Despite what you might think, why is this called Esper Origins if it's a green card? Isn't Esper just white, blue, black? Well, that's because there is a Final Fantasy character called Esper, and that's which makes things funny. And Esper is concentrated in green colors and stuff. So Esper Origins is a sorcery for 2 mana. Surveil 2. You gain 2 life. If this spell was cast from the graveyard, blink it and transform it with a finality counter on it, and has flashback for 4 mana. And summons Esper Maduin, a 4/4 enchantment creature saga elemental. At number 1, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a permanent, put it in your hand. Number 2, adds 2 green. Number 3, overcome. And yeah, of course it doesn't give itself the bonus because that's when it dies. I mean, it literally, it basically turns, so it only attacks once because, you know, summoning sickness, then you can attack and then it dies, which is the bad part of it. But at least it's a spell that, you know, flashback, you know, it works as a blocker as well. It just summons it's a crazy card. I mean, it's a flashback that literally comes back, and it has a finality counter. So if it dies, well, it gets exiled. But if you blink it, you could blink the card, and or just bounce it, and you have the spell back in the hand or in the graveyard, depending on where you want it more. So it's crazy. I mean, and this is one of the few instances in sorceries that can literally transform. Because I remember the first time I saw an instant sorcery that could transform was Startled Awake, which could come back as a 1/1 from the graveyard. But yeah, let's go in. At our number 6, we have 2 cards that melt together. Vanille, Cheerful L'Cie, and Fang, Fearless L'Cie. So Vanille is a 4 mana 3/2 legendary human cleric, with when it enters, mill 2, then bring back a permanent from your graveyard to your hand. At the beginning of your first main phase, if you both own and control Vanille and Fang, you may pay 5 mana to blink them and melt them into Ragnarok. Fang being a 3 mana 2/3 human warrior, legendary of course. And whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you draw a card and you lose 1 life, but triggers only once each turn. So yeah, of course melts with Vanille. Ragnarok, Divine Deliverance, is a 7/6 legendary beast avatar with vigilance, menace, trample, reach, and haste. When it dies, destroy target permanent card and return target non-legendary permanent card from your graveyard to battlefield. Yeah, it's crazy. It like literally becomes an unstoppable machine, you know, like, because you just attack, vigilance, menace, and plus it has vigilance. And if it dies, it destroys something with it and brings something back. Only issue is cannot bring back a legendary permanent. So yeah, this is not gonna be quite ideal for Grizzlebrand decks, but this is still cool. I mean, it is a game ender on its own. I mean, it's a 7/6 with vigilance, menace, trample, reach, and haste. Issue is no hexproof, so it still dies to removal, but it kills something when it dies and brings something back. So yeah, let's go in. At our number 5, we have Traveling Chocobo, a 3 mana bird with you may 3/2. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands and cast bird spells on the top of your library. If your land or bird triggers, then triggers initial time. So basically, landfall triggers and birdfall triggers. Yes, birdfall triggers as well. So if a bird would enter, you know, ETB trigger from a bird, that triggers again. Creature enters battlefield trigger and a bird enters, you know, then this triggers again. So for example, stuff like impact tremors. If you put a bird down, that's going to deal 2 damage because a bird entered. And since a bird entering the battlefield causes a creature into the battlefield trigger to happen, it's going to trigger another time. The really cool thing about this creature is that there are so many different variations of this card with different colors, different cool stuff, and of course there will be there will be serializations for this card, and which means there will be very rare versions of the traveling chocobo. The only issue is this bird does not fly. Yeah, it's a bird without flying. So, yeah, it's. I've not played much Final Fantasy, so I'm not entirely sure why they don't fly. But I mean, you gotta respect the lore of the game. If the bird does not fly, then it don't fly. But let's go in. At our number 4, we got Squall, Seed Mercenary. A 4 mana 3/4 legendary human knight mercenary with Rough Divide. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, gains double strike on turn. So I think Rough Divide might be a new triggers thing similar to Exalted, but I mean this one gives double strike instead of giving +1/+1. And whenever Squall deals combat damage to a player, return to a permanent card with MV 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is basically Sun Titan, but the issue is it doesn't trigger when it enters, and it only triggers if it manages to hit the player, not when it attacks. And it doesn't have vigilance, but at least it does double strike. It can give double strike with if a creature is attacking alone, if it's whether it's its elf or it's another creature. So yeah, Squall, really cool card, but still not better than Sun Titan. Let's go to the next one. At our number 3, you might have seen the Esper card I was talking about, Esper Origins. Well, this is a Terra, Magical Adept, a 3 mana 4/2 legendary human wizard warrior, with when Terra enters, mill 5. Put up to 1 enchantment card milled this way into your hand. And for trance, 6 mana tap, exile and bring it back transformed under its owner's control. Only its sorcery. So trance, I'm pretty sure it's a new thing where you just blink in it and it comes back transformed. Which transforms into Esper Terra, a legendary enchantment creature saga wizard. Sits flying 1, 2, and 3. Create a token that's a copy of target non-legendary enchantment you control. It gains haste. If it's a saga, put up to 3 lore counters on it. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step. Wait, what? So, okay. Isn't this just gonna kill the saga straight up? I mean, this doesn't really work well if you clone a saga, because if you clone a saga, then it's gonna skip through. Oh wait, I mean, well, maybe just be a normal saga, not a saga creature. But if it's just a saga, then yeah, it's not bad. I mean, the issue is if it's a saga creature, it's gonna die straight away. But for 4, add double Wooburg, then blink it. So you get Terra back after the trance happens. Where Esper Terra, you get the 3 clones, then in the last phase you get Wooburg. So yeah, that's our number 3. Let's go to our number 2. Number 2, we have a really cool card for Commander. The issue is this isn't really good for any other format. This is 5 mana Xenos Yaegalvus, 4/4 legendary human noble warrior with My First Friend. When ETBs, choose target creature an opponent controls. Until end of turn, Xenos and the other creature don't get -2/-2 until turn. The rest do get -2/-2. When chosen creature leaves the battlefield, transform Xenos and transform it into Shinryu, Transcendent Rival, an 8/8 legendary dragon with flying. As it transforms into Shinryu, choose an opponent. When the chosen player loses, you win! So in Commander, this is really good, as it literally makes it so that you can pick off one opponent. And if that opponent loses, that's it. You don't have to deal with the other opponents. The issue is, your opponents are going to gang up on you. Or at least, that player is not going to get hit by the other players. Meaning that you're most likely going to be in a 3v1 once you're using Shinryu. However, if you can go straight for the throat and just do a 21 commander damage, then yeah. This card is powerful as it can literally one-shot, since it can one-shot the game by one-shotting an opponent. You know, if you just one-shot one opponent, that's it. You get to defeat everyone else just because your goal was fulfilled. What would make this better is if it was secret. If this card secretly chooses an opponent and then you reveal it once you kill the opponent, hey, that would be better. At least it doesn't put a target on your back. I mean, yeah, I think this would make the card better if you could choose the opponent and then once secretly, and then once the opponent loses, you reveal and you win. So yeah, that's our number 2. But let's go to the last one. Number 1. Summon Bahamut, a 9-mana 9/9 enchantment creature saga dragon with flying. And at number 1 and 2, you get to destroy up to one target non-land permanent, allowing you to destroy something as soon as it enters the battlefield, similar to Karn Liberated, the new Ugin as well, and various Eldrazi that do similar stuff, like Ulamog or stuff. And plus, it hits both artifacts and enchantments. So if you're playing a black deck that doesn't have artifact removal, or a red deck that doesn't have enchantment removal, I mean, Summon Bahamut can destroy that. At number 3, draw 2 cards. The last phase is Mega Flare, which deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent. So, doesn't count itself. However, Bahamut, being a 9/9, capable of dealing 18 damage by swinging twice. If you have something that's at least 2 mana, this can one-shot the opponent, because two hits from Bahamut plus Mega Flare, you should be able to kill off your opponent with just Bahamut. Because the Fiend, the 4-mana 6/6 one, cannot one-shot the opponent that easily, as it only allows for 18 damage before you have to sacrifice this or just lose the game. So yeah, and the best part of Summon Bahamut is that you don't lose the game on the 4th turn. So this literally just ends up dying. And if you can blink it, then that would be even better. Reanimation decks, this card is for you. As it's not legendary, you can bring it back with Persist. You can use it in Legacy with Animate Dead. Reanimate even. But, I mean, I wouldn't advise 9 mana for Reanimate if it doesn't have life gain. So, yeah. But it still is a very powerful card. Dread Return as well, as this card could work in some dredge decks, as the number 3 lets you draw 2, which means you're dredging 7 to 10 cards or stuff. I mean, by using dredge, 9 or 10 cards, depending on what you're dredging. Maybe in the Legacy decks, where you have Golgari Grave Troll. So yeah. Anyways, congratulations! You've reached the end of the podcast. So why don't you like and subscribe and follow if you haven't already? Share with friends, stay tuned to these videos, streams, and podcasts. Podcasts will be live every Tuesday, 4:30 GMT. So stay tuned to them. Watch my other videos too. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and bye.